The IMAX, if you think of an arch, the IMAX was the keystone of that plan. The IMAX was going to generate attendance, which was then going to generate revenue to at least make the plan level. Now we're all about a mission statement and all those different things that we have to have the museum people be able to abide by their mission statement. I don't think those numbers are realistic, and they are good opportunities for people to have an educational experience for children. But school districts are not going to be able to go on field trips. Today I heard that the school district received a grant, I think it was for Columbia and another school. They received a state grant to be able to go to the Abraham Lincoln Museum in Springfield for an educational, historic, cultural experience. But District 150 does not have the funds to send people to on field trips to go down to the museum. It's also the public perception in our community is that that's not a safe place right now, and people don't want to go there. So I'm all for a museum if that's really what we wanted to do, but it was pitched a different way, okay? And I feel that it's just not a proper use for that piece of ground, and we've expanded government services. Did I get all your questions? I would like to be I want to be optimistic too, and I'm a woman of faith. But when the plan is wrong, no matter how much I try to be optimistic, if the foundation is wrong, it's like the wise man who built his house upon the rock and the foolish man who built his house upon the sand. So maybe we would just have to agree to disagree.
Thank you for your comments. You can get her again after the thing is over, because it sounds like you want to keep doing that. Also, out of fairness to the question just being asked to one candidate, we're going to allow the other candidate to respond in kind.
The reason that we had the referendum was to ask the people if they wanted a museum. There was no way that we were going to sit there and write a $40 million check for our museum without finding out how the public felt about it. That was it. The IMAX is the name. There's technology that has surpassed it now. They're still talking with people about the technology to go in there, but because they say that the IMAX might not be there, there'll be something else there. Technology evolves. It really does. And as far as the safety, I have never heard the safety of that location questioned at all. The museum is something that is going to be magnificent for us. Really brief, I'll say, I went to the ribbon cutting of Betty Friedan's Out to the Y. And they did a little skit inside. And the skit was done by Barb Drake, who used to be on the Journal-Star. And what it was Barb Drake had gone 15 years ago to Washington, D.C. to interview Betty because, as she told her, I'm afraid that everyone's going to die that knows anything. And we want this to go in the museum. So true, that's how long they've been working on it. But now it's coming to us, and I think it's going to be marvelous.
What are they going to do with the $2.5 million if they're presently laying off police officers?
Okay. I don't know whether either one of the candidates wants to comment on that, since it's primarily a city of Peoria issue as opposed to a Peoria County issue. I think, though, that both entities are struggling with financial concerns around how they support their officers. So if we would change it to a question around how do you see the financing of the officers of the county going in the future, we'll start with that.
At this particular time, we are putting a budget together. No one has said anything about laying off police officers. As you know, the county is vast, and the time that the officers spend getting to places, we can't eliminate any police officers. We might move some around. We might take some that are working at the jail, put them in cars, or some that are down at the courthouse. But I don't see that we'll be laying off any. But then again, that is the sheriff's call, but I don't see it.
The county calls our older neighborhoods heritage neighborhoods, which is a nice thing. Instead of saying I live in the hood or I live in the city, it has a little bit more of a pleasant ring. And we don't know what the city's going to do, but in the county, again, I say that we need to look at that budget to see if there are extra dollars in the public safety sales tax, which we already have currently, to see if we can somehow contract with the sheriff to get extra patrols in the city. As I go door to door, safety is one of the top 3 concerns that people have. They want to feel safe. And so I think that we need to keep thinking outside of the box about how we do provide our basic services.
I remember there was some talk about possibly having some merging of city and council. So could you speak to that?
I think that we really need to look at every single department. Nothing should be spared. We can look at IT, we can look at the sheriff, we can look at every department that we have, so we can see if there is some way to combine services, some way to be able to purchase commodities in a different thing. Everything really needs to be looked at to see where we can streamline and save money.
I totally agree with that, and we have been doing that, but it's like we've got a lot of chiefs and not so many Indians. I think that it would be customer friendly for us to have one department for them to go to vote, or one department to go to do the plats for their housing developments or whatever they're doing, one place to go when we pay our speeding tickets. I agree with that, but it's going to take a lot of work, and it's going to honestly take a lot of pressure from you. Because like I said, we've got a lot of chiefs and they're not wanting to move. It'll be best for you and probably cheaper. The locations, everything will be better for you. I agree with that 100%.
We know that public safety and having more police is, very fundamental. But my challenge that I guess I'd ask the 2 participants is that how do you equate opportunity in terms of when we take a look at the unemployment numbers for African Americans, contracting opportunities, what's your game plan and how do you feel about how you get inclusion and greater participation for professional services and contracting and procurement for African Americans?
As I look at Bonnie Hester, who is the head of our Minority Contractors Committee at the county, that's one of your answers. The other answer is that we have lists that we have everyone on that does professional services or whatever, if we're talking construction. For example, I was talking about the lead program. We have 5 contractors now. 2 of them are from in town. We have 2 more that are minority contractors that all they have to do is get their license from the state for the lead, and they will be working in our program.
I think that we need to, again, be inclusive, and we need to, when we put out, like what we had with the lead program, when we had all the people that were brought forward to receive training and licensing, we need to be able to have a structure in place so that those people who receive the training and structure get the jobs in a timely fashion. We didn't have that exactly happen with the program, and so people feel that they don't trust the system because they're set up on these paths, and then we don't follow through enough. And so we need more follow through, and we need to make sure that people have the skills that they need in order to meet the procurement qualifications. And sometimes that doesn't come, in a short period of time. We need to also reach out to have people come to the table and tell us where the parts are that are missing, and also what they think are possible solutions so that they can get up to speed as quickly as possible.
Okay, and if she wants to say something behind that, go right ahead.
The reason that we only have 5 contractors in that program is that we have put in our contracts a training program, and some of the contractors feel that the lead program is too small for them to come and do that and do training also.
My name is Clyde Gully, and the question is with regard to minority contracting. I wondered if you know what your current, at the county, the current minority utilization goal for the county minority businesses. And second part, what do you think it should be?
To be honest, I don't know the answer to the first question, and I don't feel that we necessarily need to have a certain percentage. I feel that we should be awarding contracts to people that are qualified and not whether they're minority or whatever. If you're qualified, you should be able to provide the service.
Since we all know that that doesn't happen, we still need to keep the numbers in there until we finally make it a habit of just hiring people because of their talents and because of what they can do.
I have a question for the two of you, and it's probably a little different, but would either of you ever consider running for city council? The reason I'm asking that question is mainly because, Ms. Most of your concerns seem to be centered around things that are going on in the city, and it's kind of hard for me to even consider voting for you to be on the county board when all your issues are related to city.
Well, the district that we represent is a district within the city, okay? And recently, the museum is a county-wide issue. So that is an issue that any county board member would be able to address. Additionally, we had an asphalt issue, okay? And I don't know, are you aware of the asphalt issue? Okay, that was an issue that was out in the county, and that was for unincorporated areas of the county. The county board has spent the better part of a year with staff time and resources, legal assistance from the state's attorney's office, to now enact an ordinance that people who live in unincorporated areas can opt out. So we spend all that time, of which Ms. Pearson did vote for that ordinance, that proves and does absolutely nothing. And I helped work with the asphalt owners and suppliers, whether they were union or non-union, whether they were state approved or not state approved, and obtain information by Freedom of Information Act, which was used in federal court. Why is that important? Because the county was attempting to impose a regulation on a group of business owners who employ more than 50 people, and they would have effectively been put out of business without their due process to be able to operate for a problem that was not a problem in Peoria County. So I hope that answers your issue, your question.
No, it didn't.
You want to hear about asphalt?
No.
What was the question?
I wanted to know if either you would consider running for city council, since most of the issues that she discussed are city related.
To be honest with you, no, because I am on the county and we do have all kind of complicated problems. You know, I'll never go down Madison Street and find a problem with the septic system, but we have it in the county. You know, we have a lot of rundown property, and we have a lot of businesses out there, and hopefully we'll have more businesses out there. But no thanks. I really like what I'm doing. I like working for the people. I like showing them the way through the system, because, you know, the county has long been just looked over and neglected. And I really appreciate when people come to me from wherever they are in the county.